Alright, so these are two images or YouTube thumbnails that were created by AI in two different ways. So the picture on the left was created using a somewhat simple basic prompt, and I would imagine that this is the type of prompt that people are using when they're chatting with AI. And there is nothing wrong with that. I think that is a fair way to communicate with AI. But the problem of using a simple or short prompt is usually AI need to fill the gap of the information, and sometimes AI might be wandering off or manifest those into mistakes in the output. Like in this example, I can spot some problems like there are 5 people in the module even though there is only 4 people in that mission. The word NASA appears twice, and that is not necessary, but perhaps the biggest and the most noticeable problem is this is supposed to be the surface of the Earth, and somehow it is much more akin to the surface of the Moon. So those are some problems, some mistakes that can happen if you're using a simple prompt. So I highly recommend to start using a prompt that is not only more detailed but also consistent and repeatable, and that is exactly the technique that was used to create this image. And I don't see any problem. I mean, there is only perhaps one tiny issue like the play button down here, but other than that, the picture is basically spotless. I don't see any mistakes in the text, and also the planet, the moon seems to be all right. And also these are exactly all the 4 astronauts that went to the moon, I mean orbiting the moon. So this was created using a more detailed and thorough prompting. And of course, prompting is easy and hard at the same time. It is easy because it is quite straightforward. It is like communicating to any person. But it is also hard because we have to tell exactly what AI needs to know or to do. So there is a tool from Claude called Prompt Generator, and basically with this tool we can turn a basic prompt into a more detailed prompting that can be used in a website, on an app, and we can even adapt the prompt to a cloud project or Gemini Gems, Perplexity Spaces, or even in ChatGPT. Now, of course, this tool was made primarily for developers building an app using the cloud technology, but we can use the prompt that was created by this tool into virtually any AI platform, although with some rework of course. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how you can turn your prompt into a more detailed, repeatable, and consistent prompt using this tool in Cloud AI. Now, before you can start utilizing this tool, there is one thing that you need to know. So this is again a developer tool, so it is not like available in the official Cloud website. You have to navigate to platform.cloud.com, and you can log in with the same email address that you use on cloud.ai. But your perhaps Cloud subscription does not translate into the Cloud Console. Those two are different services, a different platform, so you have to top up some credits before you can start using some features in the console. So you can buy some credits in the settings menu, and then you can click billing, and then you can buy some credits. The minimum amount is $5, and it is not subscription, by the way. It is just one time off, and you can top up as many as you like, and also as often or as not often as you like. But one thing to note here is that when I top up some credits, I actually have to wait like 30 minutes until my credit appear in my account. So that is one thing to know. Anyway, after you got some credits, you can navigate to the dashboard, and then we can start using the Prompt Generator tool. Click this button, and then you can describe the task that you want to accomplish more consistently and also repeatable. So in this case, let's say I want to generate a prompt that is able to turn any topic into an infographics. So let me try this. I want a prompt that can be used to turn any topic into a vertical 1950s noir infographic style. Okay, so I want to get that particular style consistently. And this is my prompt. Of course, you can use this for document generation, for creating a prompt for drafting emails, or perhaps prompt for video generation, prompt for coding. Yeah, there are many use cases, there are many examples, but I'll just use a visual example because it's kind of easy to show the result. Now, after that, if you're planning to use the prompt for a thinking model, you can enable this, but for this example, for my demo, I'm not going to use that, even though later I'm going to use a model with a thinking capability. Now I'm going to click generate and just wait for AI within Claude Console to turn your request into a more detailed and thorough prompting. Okay, so this is the result. As you can see, it is so detailed. It has some bullet points. I personally like a bullet point format because it is easy to actually customize later. And there you go. Now, if you are a developer and you want to work further with this prompt, you can click this continue button. And if you're lucky, then it will open the workbench. So the workbench looks like this. This is one example. And again, this is a tool for developers, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but basically you can discuss with AI, you can improve your prompt, and there are also some tools like you can enable a web search, for example, and perhaps you can evaluate and you can test various prompts. You can also change the variable. Yeah, there are many things that you can do, and I'm not going to talk too much about it. And I think if you're a developer, I think you will know exactly how to use this tool. Now, okay, let me just go back again. Okay, so if you're not lucky, then you will stuck in this step and it's not progressing. But if you want to see the result or you want to continue and see the workbench, I do recommend to just duplicate the page and then check that again. So this is probably just a bug that's just happened to be going on right now. And you can open it and then you can see the prompt that was created by AI. So this is the prompt. It is exactly the same one that you saw earlier. Now, I'm going to use this prompt on Gemini. So even though this is a tool that was created by Claude, made for Claude, you can use it anywhere. It doesn't matter. You can use it on the Gems feature on Gemini, or the Spaces feature on Perplexity, or perhaps the Projects feature on Claude AI, or even ChatGPT. Now I'm going to copy this. Okay, I'm going to just copy everything, and I'm going to open Gemini. Let me just start a new gem. Okay, sorry about that. Let me just enlarge everything. New gem. Oh, that was a different type of gem. Sorry about that. Yeah, this one. Yeah, the classic gem. Now let's call this one 1950s noir infographics. All right, and description not necessary. Instructions, I'll just copy and paste the prompt that was created in Claude Prompt Generator. But we cannot just start using or saving this prompt or this gem. There are a few things that we need to customize. Remember, the prompt generator was created for developers, for building apps or websites that might be using the Claude AI models. And there are a few things that we need to customize in the prompt. So in my case, I will remove this variable. It is not necessary. This is not something that the gem feature on Gemini supports. So I'll just remove this section. And also, let me check the other part of the prompt. Okay, write your complete infographic node description inside infographic tags, make it vivid. Okay, so yeah, I guess I'm going to use this. It seems to be fine. I don't see any format or variables that might be ignored by AI. So I'm going to use this one and I'm going to click save. Okay, so I'll start a new chat within this gem on Gemini. So this is the same thing in Perplexity Space or ChatGPT and Claude projects. They are basically the same feature with different names. Now, let's say I want to generate an infographics about the Artemis 2 mission. All right, so I'll send a message, but it's not going to create the image yet. It will create the prompt that later can be turned into an image. Okay, so it is a very detailed prompt, and this is actually a good thing because now we can get a more detailed and also a consistent and repeatable result later. So let's say I'll just prepare the next query, which is Now generate the infographics. Okay, I'll just enable the image generation and click submit and just wait for the result. Alright, so this is the result. Honestly, it looks quite impressive. Now, from this picture alone, it's kind of difficult to tell if it is actually following the prompt that was created in the prompt generator. But let me give you some examples. So in the original prompt, in the instruction, we want to get some items, like we want to get some dramatic shadows, and we also want to see some elements from that era like smokes, fedora hats, trench coat, and some other items. And if you look closely on the picture, you'll see that those elements do exist in the picture. Like we got some cigarettes, some fedora hat. There's also a guy wearing this trench coat. And I actually tried to create another infographics with a different topic, and yeah, those elements do persist in the picture. Like here we got a hat, and then there is also the guy wearing the fedora hat. So yeah, this is basically the infographics that was created using the same gem, the same instruction, and I would say it looks very much consistent. All the structure, the items, are all the instructions that was laid off in the original prompt do exist in the final output. So that is one good example, one good reason why you might want to use a more detailed and repeatable prompt that was created by the prompt generator by Claude AI. So I hope you learned something from this video, and if you want to see other cool things that you can do with AI, then check out this video and I'll see you there.